My biological mother didn't raise me. She let my dad raise me for the first 2 years on his own, and then he passed away. My maternal grandparents took custody of me like my dad wanted. My grandparents became my parents but raised me to know about the loving dad that I had. My grandparents were amazing, and I feel lucky that they also loved my dad and respected him enough, despite him not being their son, to make sure I did grow up knowing that he wanted me, even though their daughter, my biological mother, did not. I lost both my grandparents in the last 4 years. Grandpa died 4 years ago when I, 21 male, was 17, and Grandma died 8 months ago. I inherited the most from my grandparents. My aunts and uncles also inherited a small portion of their estate, and my biological mother got the smallest amount they could get away with giving her, which was like $5, LOL. But I got the family home because I still live here with Grandma and got a sizable amount of money. After my grandparents died, my aunts and uncles got closer to my biological mother again, and they became a family again and met her husband and kids. I wasn't a part of that. She was never my mom. Nothing will change that. A couple of months ago, she reached out and told me she and her family were struggling and asked for money. I ignored her and asked my aunts and uncles how she found me, and they admitted they passed my info along. I told them I didn't like that. They said she's family whether I like it or not, and at least I should be interested in helping her kids because they're my siblings. She asked for money again after that, but I still didn't reply. Then last week she contacted me again and said they needed a place to stay, and she and her kids really needed my help. I asked her why it would help her and her kids when they were nothing but strangers to me. I told her to stop expecting me to take care of her. She called me names. Then she told my aunts and uncles, and they went crazy on me. They said she's still my mom, and I said she was a biological mother, a birth mother, but not a mom when it concerned me. They told me she was still my mom, and her kids were my siblings, and I should be there for them if not for her. They told me I shouldn't be a monster to them when I could help them. I told them that if they wanted a relationship, they could help her. They told me my question was meant to be nasty and nothing else. I was also told she was young when she had me, and I should understand better. She was 25. She wasn't a teenager. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Arg! I hate when people play their family card, and you're expected to forgive all their transgressions. I will say that your siblings are innocent of any of this. Your mom's a real piece of work, and she's getting all of her siblings, I'm assuming your aunts and uncles are her siblings, to pile on and guilt you. She made her choices. Her choices put her in an uncomfortable position. This is not on you to bail her out. You're correct. They can help her with the inheritance they got from their mom. This isn't on you, OP. Monster, huh? Well, Biomother and her siblings are leeches. She's not your mom. You were basically given up for adoption, and you wouldn't be hearing from her if you didn't have a sizable inheritance. She's not interested in you as a person. She just wants what she can get. Tell your relatives to pay off and pay her bills themselves. Yep, I'm betting 10-1 that Mom and her siblings are seriously perturbed that OP got the biggest piece of the pie and won't share like they feel OP should. Mom has waited until the grandparents have passed and OP is unprotected to put the pressure on, and aunts and uncles are weak enough to be her flying monkeys and try to take what's rightfully OP's. This is what I was thinking. You'll notice the aunts and uncles didn't pull this crap when your grandparents were alive. Your mother was expecting an inheritance and didn't get one. This is what she's after, OP. Don't give her a penny. Check all of your accounts, credit cards, and credit ratings. When you don't give in, she may decide to help herself to your funds. You may even want to freeze your credit. If she has your SS number, she could open some, though. It would be wise to keep an extra eye on your finances. She's likely quite unhappy that you inherited it and that she didn't. I, 58-year-old female, invited everyone in my family to dinner at a nice restaurant for my husband's 60th birthday. I told everyone about the event a month ago. The guest list also included my daughter, Sarah, 24, and her wife, Elizabeth, 28. Elizabeth works in a demanding, stressful, but well-compensated corporate position. She does have a tendency to overwork herself. Unsurprisingly, she was late to dinner. Sarah said Beth had cleared her schedule for the day, but there was a last-minute issue, and she had to leave for work. Elizabeth made it while everyone else was starting dessert. She apologized, gave us a fancy bottle of wine as a gift, and sat down. We were all done and ready to go, but Elizabeth hadn't eaten yet. It was getting late, so as people started leaving, my husband and I also decided to leave, as it was getting late. We didn't wait for Elizabeth to finish her dinner. The next day, I got a call from Sarah, saying it was not okay for us to leave them alone like that. I explained and said it was getting late, but she insisted we stay. I may be an idiot here when I said maybe she needs to take off her rose-colored glasses about Elizabeth. She got upset and hung up the phone. Was I an idiot for leaving the restaurant, even though my daughter-in-law hadn't finished eating dinner? She ordered an appetizer, but it took a while. Not the idiot. After the group has eaten the main course, a late arrival has effectively missed dinner and shouldn't expect to order and eat. It was pushy and rude of Elizabeth to expect to eat, let alone have anyone wait for her. Someone in a high corporate position should know that and treat her in-laws better. Daughter-in-law only ordered an appetizer, but it still took a long time. Oh, interesting. It's very misleading of OP to state that Elizabeth didn't finish her dinner, which makes the reader assume that the daughter-in-law ordered a meal. It's also convenient that OP didn't mention a time estimate for how long they waited and only said a while. I feel like the OP is deliberately omitting information to sway the vote in her favor, changing my vote to "you are the idiot, OP." Exactly. Dinner definitely makes readers think that a full meal was ordered, which is what I assumed. There was no reason that OP and her husband couldn't have waited until their daughter-in-law finished her appetizer. It probably would have been an extra 5 to 10 minutes at most. Plus, even OP's language choice is inflammatory, telling the daughter to remove her rose-colored glasses, which implies multiple problems. OP is intentionally vague to present herself in a better light. Definitely an unreliable narrator. And that rose-colored glasses crack shows your underlying dislike of her daughter-in-law. My girlfriend, 24, and I, male 25, broke up about 2 weeks ago. It was more her call than mine, but we both knew things weren't going well. So I was sad but not surprised. We ended things amicably and said we'd still be friends, whatever that meant. Anyway, we exchanged things in each other's apartments a couple of days after the breakup. Then we only talked again 2 days ago when she texted me. We had planned to go on a trip to the Canary Islands this year. The plane tickets were about $800 a piece, and the Airbnb was like $1,600. So we decided I'd just pay for the Airbnb and she'd pay for the flights. The flights were non-refundable, and we're already past the date that I'd get any meaningful refund from Airbnb. So I decided I'd just get a friend to split the Airbnb and go anyway. I had planned on telling my ex that I'd pay her for my ticket so she didn't lose the money, but she texted me about it first. On Friday, she offered to pay me for the Airbnb minus the cost of my plane ticket because she was still interested in going with a friend. I told her I was planning on going with a friend and would pay her for my ticket and still go. She said okay, but I needed to pay her for my ticket and half of hers because she can't use it now. She says she agreed to buy 2 plane tickets under the understanding that we could both go on the trip. I agreed to pay for an Airbnb with the same understanding, but since that's not happening, we should evenly share the lost cost. Since I'm still using the room and my ticket, the only lost cost is her $800 ticket, and we should each bear $400 from that. I told her I didn't think that was fair at all. First of all, it was her idea to break up, so the reason we aren't going is on her. Second, there's no reason why she can't use her ticket. She should get an Airbnb and still go with her friend. I said I'd even sit in her friend's seat and let her friend sit in my seat so they could sit together. Whether or not she uses her ticket is up to her, and she bears any cost for that. She said she didn't want to go at the same time as me, and the good Airbnbs were taken for that time. Anyway, we went back and forth, and she even threatened to cancel the tickets, even though she couldn't get any money back. So I said, you know what? Go ahead and cancel them and get whatever refund you can. I'll buy my ticket and not pay you back anything. She said, I'm not going to talk to you if you're being an idiot. Let's talk about this later when you can be mature. That's where it is right now. My friends are divided. Most say I should at least pay her for my ticket, which I'm willing to do if she doesn't cancel it. But some say I should pay for half of hers as well. I'm sticking firm that I won't pay for half of her ticket. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot at this point. Refrain from engaging her about this trip again. You already said the original agreement was that she bought the tickets and you do Airbnb, so she can't come at you for repayment because the original agreement was not breached. Let her keep the ticket and buy you and your friend your own. You can find a better deal on tickets closer to your trip. I don't understand why you would pay half of her ticket. I don't understand what her logic is in that scenario. It's straightforward. She's out the money, she wants it back, and is going to use manipulation tactics to pretend that everyone else on earth would pay her back. No discussion. And she's hoping you fold. Your ex can book her own accommodations at whatever the cost is and use her flight tickets. It's not your problem. I disagree. In this case, OP has the better deal because she's holding on to tickets, which you usually can't transfer to another person, and he's holding on to an Airbnb that's a lot easier to transfer. It just sucks. I see her point. It's apples and oranges and doesn't equate fully in the convenience of trading back and forth because dealing with airlines and Airbnb are different. You are the idiot. You both wanted to use the trip, bringing someone else. And since you control the Airbnb, you beat her to it, meaning she'd have to scramble for new accommodation. She's right. Her options are limited now. Bringing up that she broke up with you was irrelevant and signaled you're not really thinking objectively about this. Her proposal that you share the loss on this sounds objectively fair. I inherited a house from my dad after his passing a few years ago. His house came with a guava tree in the yard. The tree has been there for a good portion of my teen years and is special to me. One day, my wife and I were thinking of ways to earn extra income and realized we could literally sell the fruit. We got the permit and started preparing guava in different ways. For reference, I sell the fruit whole, spliced, and put it into cups, candied, etc. We realized that while the branches weren't exactly hanging over our neighbor's lawn, sometimes guava would fall over or buck against the fence at the right angle and end up there. So my wife and I purchased a tree fruit net for the side of the tree that was closest to the neighbor's yard. Since then, I don't think any fruit has fallen into their yard, which is good. What led me here today is that last week, while my wife was out on the lawn, the neighbor's kid approached her and asked what happened to the fruits. My wife explained that we keep the fruits in a net to have more. The kid ran off and returned with their dad, who asked my wife the same thing. She explained again, and from what she said, the father looked like he took it personally. Asked if we thought he was stealing, and my wife explained, no, we didn't think that. We just wanted to maximize the fruit that falls from our tree, since we do use it for some profit. Today, the same neighbor knocked on the door, and I answered. He asked if we could talk about the fruit tree situation. He said that he thinks it's selfish, how my father would freely let the fruits fall wherever, but now that I'm here, I'm hoarding the fruit. I explained that the tree is my property, so whatever comes from the tree is also my property. I said he could buy guava from us if he wanted, but he looked more upset that I would even recommend that. I'm glad his kid liked the fruit, but now that I'm making money off this, I can't just let that happen freely. He called me selfish again and said I could spare a few. I said again he could buy some for me if he wanted. I offered a box for $5. Now every time we see him around, he doesn't smile at us, which I guess is expected. But now they let the dog poop on our lawn, and he keeps telling his kid loudly that the neighbors killed the fruit fairy. Some of the neighbors are still cool with us, but it's like we made an enemy from him, and I'm feeling slightly guilty for the kid. Edit. We started the net when we had a medical bill come up and needed to work on paying it off. You are the idiot, and it is petty. Are you so hard up you can't spare a few fruit? It would have been the neighborly thing to do to offer him a box every year. It's $5 by your accounting. Is a measly $5 worth the bad feelings between neighbors and a kid's happy childhood memories of guavas from next door? Absolutely not. I don't get. Do people just not care about having a good relationship with their neighbors? Yeah, capitalism has broken people's brains. Dude, is what you're doing legal? Yes, but is it selfish and unkind? Also, yes. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. If I were you, I'd stop by their house and apologize and give them a box of fruit. Tell them that upon further examination, you realize you hurt their feelings by your unneighborly actions, and let them know you'll offer them a box every year going forward. I disagree. OP's not the idiot. If it's a measly $5, why can't his neighbor just pay it? Why does OP need to give the box for free? And the way the neighbor handled the situation was completely immature. He's just mad he isn't getting it for free anymore. But that doesn't make OP an idiot for trying to make a profit with something that belongs to him. The neighbor can buy fruit anywhere. My coworker, 32 female, asked me, 28 female, to dog sit for her for the weekend while she and her husband spend a weekend away. They paid me $150, and I left just this morning. I've been there since Thursday, and while I was there, I ate some of their food. They only had a little in their fridge, but they had a few packs of frozen vegetables that you could microwave. There was a total of about 8 of them, and in the 3 days I was there, I ate 3. My coworker just texted me and asked if I had ate their food. I said yes, and she started telling me how she was saving that food for her lunches, etc. She also asked me to pay her $50 back, since she paid me extra so I could order food instead of eating hers. I feel like this is so ridiculous. I told her I'd just buy her some frozen vegetables, and she said to forget it and sent me her Venmo information. I see her every day at work. Is it worth it for $50? Am I the idiot for eating her food while I was sitting for her? Would I be the idiot if I didn't pay her back? Edit. While I was there, I didn't eat anything else. I don't eat breakfast, and I supplement my lunches with a protein shake. I just had her vegetables. Not the idiot. I had a dog-sitting business before the global issue. $150 for a weekend that you stayed at our home is not extra money. 3 bags of frozen vegetables are $15 to $20 at best. And I'm pushing here because you can find nice frozen vegetables for $2.50 per bag. You should replace her food, as meals were not discussed in the deal. I wish her good luck finding responsible and reliable in-home care for her dog next time. Am I taking crazy pills? Do not refund her. She's having buyer's remorse about her pet sitting money. I just paid $50 daily for my dog to stay at someone else's home. In-house overnight was a lot more money, pushing $100 a day. Your coworker is out of line. I'd buy her 3 bags of the veggies you ate and then never help her out again. That's ridiculous to ask for $50.